is Grant Movsowitz, one of the directors at T+O+M Executive, and today I'm joined by Fergal Gleeson, one of my fellow directors, and Fergal runs our accounting practice. Today we have got our next installment of T+O+M Talks, and we're going to specifically be talking about the CFO space, specifically within the financial industry in which we've been operating for 15 years. Welcome, Fergal. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Grant.
So firstly, Fergal, what I'd like to get an understanding of is what trends are you seeing in the financial services space from, I guess, an employer perspective?
So Fintechs have been one of the very big stories of 2019. We recently hosted a CFO Fintech breakfast, and they're at an interesting stage of their development where previously it was 4 people in a room with no funding. Now many of these Fintechs are at advanced stages of funding. Some already have full banking licenses, some are on their way to restricted licenses, and so we're increasingly recruiting into that space. It's a very attractive proposition to candidates. There is, of course, risk associated with it, but for people who have got some risk appetite, it's a really attractive proposition. It's interesting, the big 4 banks, which have traditionally dominated financial services, have retreated in terms of business as usual finance roles. There's a lot of work still in reg, there's a lot of work still in projects, some remediation type work, but I think to finance that, they're probably pulling back pretty hard from business as usual finance roles and probably trying to do more with less. So that does give small and medium businesses, I think, a better opportunity to attract top talent now because the big 4 banks are somewhat less active. Another trend I think that's worth calling out is insurance. The market's much stronger. So life insurance has been a huge amount of M&A activity associated with the big 4 banks disposing of their insurance arms. A&P also did so, and that has meant that insurance companies have had to stand up entire finance teams, and we've seen that flowing through. So there is a strong demand for insurance accountants. General insurance has been less active from an M&A perspective, but premiums are rising, and if you've noticed your car or home insurance premium renewal in the last year for no apparent reason, it's probably more expensive.
Probably mine because my car got stolen, but other than that.
But even for us who haven't had such big events, there's undoubtedly the case that premiums are rising, and so obviously that's good news for insurers. And again, I think like SMEs, there is some talent uplift happening across those companies, which is a little easier to do. A comment which I think I should call out is that generally speaking, financial services probably has a little bit less glamour about it and has lost a bit of its luster compared to at any point in the last 10 years, and it's easy to see why with obviously all the the horror stories about financial planning, life insurance, etc. We have probably seen more offer rejects from big 4 banks in the last couple of months than any time previously, where normally the brand name associated with a big 4 bank, the kind of culture story, the career trajectory that they offer is compelling for younger candidates. Now they're increasingly going for very small commercial companies that we haven't even heard of. So I think there's a few takeouts for that in terms of our client base, and I think one of them is really telling the story very well about your business, telling the story very well about the job. Sometimes as well, I think there's a sort of a complacency that has come into financial services about, hey, we're a big brand name, we can take weeks to make a decision. Everyone wants to join us anyway, but if you are running those kind of slow, poor processes, not making decisions, making low salaried offers, you are going to get the inevitable outcome now of an offer reject. So we're working closely with our client base in terms of telling that story well, but I think it's important that we're all in lockstep in terms of getting that messaging across.
Yeah, so set the agenda, get momentum working early, and keep the process moving along. But also, from our experience, we've seen make sure that you've got the highest caliber people in those teams coming to each of those stages of interviews. So a high caliber candidate sees quality person after quality person after quality person. And makes some really, really interesting insights. And for any large, medium-sized or fintech organizations out there, if you'd like to find out more, feel free to contact Fergal directly, or myself, of course.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.